An honour to be here. Thank you so much, Rudy, for trusting me. Hopefully I don't knock your tits off. And thank you so much, my yoga sisters, for coming along to support me in the floods. Thank you so much. So I was a tad puzzled, confused. She's asked me to do what? Anywho, I did graciously accept this challenge because I totally believe that creativity is contagious. I think inspiration is vitally important. I think we crave inspiration as much as we crave. We need hope and purpose in life. And story, I think that's a fundamental, integral part of who we are. And just sharing our imaginative process with others, it's what separates us from our ancestors, our ancient primate ancestors. A long time ago was when we sacrificed our incredibly brilliant memory for communication skills to survive. That's where we separated from the primates, and it was, you could pretty much say that sharing is part of our purpose. So the story I thought I'd share with you tonight is my mythological legend, my alchemical story. In other words, the way my psyche and spirit has shaped, steered my creative life. And I've decided to be brutally honest with you because at this ripe old age, what have I got to lose? Basically, this story is based on loss, fear of loss, and what I've learned from that. So I thought I would look at the 4 seminal times in my life, pivotal turning points, where I did experience huge loss and grief, but the creative achievements and the direction that came as a result, this is the story. So, I'm born, and we go along, and for 17 years, my passion is dance. I'm a dancer, I'm an artist, big plans, totally naive when it comes to dating. Went to a ladies' college. My first date, first boy I met, I felt pregnant. So this whole reputation of being this good girl, this was my core belief. You know, if I'm a good girl, I won't experience any rejection in life. Well, 17, I felt pregnant, couldn't be a nun. So, huge, you know, I've failed my parents. I'm sure they're going to drop dead when they find out they're still alive. But my first taste of depression, because I felt I was such a failure. But the creative achievement, the first of my 2 delightful sons, who are creative, beautiful creative boys, my finest creations. Very proud of those 2. So then, at 17, let's go on for 20 years. As a mother and wife, I finished my degrees in fine arts and education, continue studying drama and dance, and I build up this reputation again, high achiever, hard-working, all-round good girl. I'm choreographer for Sydney Diocese. I'm adjudicator for the Shakespeare festivals, television, radio interviews, producing television and lots of shows. And 35, breakdown. My reputation is in tatters. That good girl, down the girdle. So, institutionalised. So diagnosed with major depressive disorder, in hospital for the next 4 years, most of it. So the grief, this fear that I had of losing this reputation of being the good girl, it was too much. So straight to hospital, stayed there, divorced, painfully, but the creative direction that took, I rented a studio and I picked up my paintbrushes again and I started painting. So Huge breakthrough. Got a bit of more of balance with part-time teaching, going along nicely. However, the divorce was very painful with my boys, and at 42, fast forward, the boys have left home. The good girl rears her ugly head again. Let's go to the Middle East and be a volunteer. That'll get the reputation back. So I went to this Catholic, approached the Catholic group. Indonesia had just attacked East Timor, and they needed a volunteer missionary. All right then, Sister Michelle was on her way. She packed her bags. Little good girl was out there again, and whammo, 42, contracted cerebral malaria. Hospitalised again, in bed for 3 years. Medevaced by the army. My parents told, this is pretty serious, she's probably not going to make it. Talk about a cat's not lives. Huge failure. I went over there, failed as a missionary to save these poor people. It was like a war zone, but failure. So it took 10 years with working with a psychologist with my PTSD, 3 years in bed with the post-viral malaria and the chronic fatigue. But the creative direction, whooshka, talk about 180 degrees. So I'm in bed all these years, and I can, when I'm not in pain, I can read. So I study again Jungian psychology, and very much interested in sand play therapy, dream therapy. I also studied astrology, numerology, and tarot. Eventually, I started designing my own tarot deck from the cave paintings I saw in Arnhem Land when I got out of hospital the first time. My art, I'm so influenced by Jungian archetypes that my artwork changes to mixed media. I have a show in Sydney. I then open my own art school, the Art Space at Pearl Beach. I then start my portrait business, commissioned portrait artist. Start working agnostic using my astrology, psychology knowledge, just to, share what I've learned. And great, going along, this is cool. And a couple of years ago, number 4, stop. Okay, something was to fall off. And this time was outside of me, but my nephew suicided. And I was very close with my sister and his mother. I was with her at the time. He was 35. And I guess it really hit me because I'd spent so many years attempting suicide. So, it hit me. This time the failure sort of thing came up again, but it was different. So back in hospital again, because my body closes down, non-responsive, ambulance rides again. But I couldn't help but notice. Well, I took notice of my body, I guess is what I'm saying. And the failure this time I saw, I was failing myself. I wasn't looking after myself, and the body took me out because I just wasn't looking after myself. So I did something about it, and I call it the girlfriend I usually travel with. Oh, that's another thing. I have a Barbie blog spot, so I take Barbies around the world. They have Instagram followers, way more than me. So she was going to Lisbon for Eurovision. All right, because I was falling into the spiral again. I knew I had to do something. So I go to Eurovision with my sequin Australian flag mini dress and my pink wig and Barbies. And there are Reuters representatives interviewing. I'm interviewed. Footage comes back to Australia. The editor sees it. He's working on a project. Asks me, Michelle, can you do a little bit of acting for this project? All right then. So, creative direction again. This time in front of the camera. I remembered how much I loved acting. So I got me an agent. And if I pop up on your television, it's just me having fun. I'm doing short films, loving, and balancing that with my couple of days agnostic, using my tarot, astrology, dream work as my way of sharing what I've learnt. So hopefully I have learnt from these knockdowns and will continue to learn that this fear of loss of this reputation it's not real, it's a lie. So I guess the moral of the story, we're all vulnerable, we're all fragile. So when life brings us to our knees, I would say it's worth the effort of not just standing up but starting to walk again, because you might find that you start to walk in a different direction and a better direction at getting you back home.